Oh, boy, Kim, I don't know about you, but I'm having some really negative thoughts about this movie. I hope I'm not being demonically possessed right now.
Yeah, you must be crazy because this movie was actually really good. Let me get the Bible so we can get you exercise.
Actually, do you remember one of the first things I said to you, like after we left the theater? I said, I think this is going to turn into a hot debate because we obviously have differing opinions on this one,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you the reason why. I could tell how you were feeling about this movie because I looked over on numerous occasions and you were like covering your eyes with your hands like many times. And I was trying not to chuckle because, I didn't want to be an asshole, but I could just see you like trembling in your seat. I was trying so hard not to snicker. But yes, welcome back to yet another amazing Round the Clock Frights review. Probably a very polarizing review. Today, we're going to be covering The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. A movie that is the upteenth entry in the long-running Conjuring cinematic universe. Like Marvel and DC, there is another cinematic universe, and this one has probably two, maybe three decent entries. I like the first two Conjuring movies. How about you?
I really enjoyed the first two movies.
Did you like any of the other entries in the series, like Annabelle Creation?
I liked Annabelle definitely. Probably the first two. Wasn't quite a fan of the last one that they did, and then the Nun. I wasn't a fan of that one either.
Yeah, the first Annabelle movie, I don't think that got quite right. I thought it was pretty bland, but the following sequels I thought were actually pretty entertaining. And, okay, so The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Let me just say this. So we did a review of the movie It that came out in 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I pointed out that some critics were comparing it to a carnival ride. They weren't taking it very seriously as a horror movie, but here's the thing. If it's an enjoyable carnival ride, I don't care. Horror movies can be enjoyable. They can be fun. They can be lighthearted. They don't have to have like all this amazing depth. They don't have to be, psychologically unsettling. If they're fun, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So the first two Conjuring movies, they're not masterpieces. They're not these complex works of horror, but they're fun carnival rides. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and I think the devil is making me say these negative things about this movie. So the Conjuring series, it was once hailed as being creative and innovative, and now it's been reduced to cheap jump scares and tired gimmicks. And that is my official intro. So Kim, before I say anything else about this movie, what were your overall thoughts on The Conjuring? Part 3, A Quiet Place, The Forever Purge.
I actually really enjoyed the movie. Just like I did the first two movies. Like, I don't know. I mean, there was a couple of things in there that I've noticed that were kind of predictable.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, yes. I was in my seat trembling and jumping.
She was.
But I don't know. These kind of movies, I guess, they get more of a scare out of me than any of our other movies.
Is there a reason for that?
I think it's just anything with, like, demonic possessions and stuff. They probably freak me out on a different level than any other.
I think at this point, like, I've just seen, like, too many of these movies. This movie, like I said earlier, like, it contains all these tired gimmicks that we've seen in numerous recent horror movies. The two movies that come to mind are the two It movies.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, you can make a list of horror cliches that The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It contains. One of them being when a jump scare is about to occur, they turn down all the audio so that it's almost dead silent, so something is about to pop out at you, and then just when you're on the very edge of your seat, something will boom. The volume will be obnoxiously loud and something will just pop out at you. Or one of my favorite gimmicks, when a character sees something spooky standing in a dark corner, and then it'll be silent for a little bit, and then the spooky thing will just charge very quickly at the camera. These are gimmicks that I've just grown so tired of. But they worked for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, it was, like, the best movie of all time, but, I mean, it was definitely entertaining and fun to watch. I mean, granted, there was some scenes, like, what was that one? Where, the big guy that starts running after Patrick Wilson.
The big naked corpse.
The big naked corpse. Like, you kind of already knew from there that it was going to pretty much be, okay, so that he's just standing there. Yeah, when is he going to start running?
What can they do in this scenario?
Yeah, it's like he's just standing there. Or, like, when they're in... Oh, yeah, I was thinking of 2 different instances that happened. But, yeah. But the only times, like, I felt like I got, a jump was obviously, like, the first, like, maybe 10 minutes of the movie.
Okay. We have to talk about the opening sequence because we're going to get into the main plot of this movie. Don't you worry, but buckle in because I'm going to analyze this opening sequence. So I knew from one of the opening shots that this was not going to be an entirely original horror movie. So there's this one shot where a priest is getting out of this taxi cab and they imitate that infamous shot of from The Exorcist, where he is standing outside the house, where something spooky is going on inside, and of course you have the ray of light shining out the window, and the priest just stands there looking at the window in awe. They took that directly from The Exorcist, and... Okay, fine, homage, whatever. But the rest of this opening sequence, basically, we learn in an opening scroll that Ed and Lorraine Warren were summoned to this house to exorcise this 8-year-old boy who has become demonically possessed. So when this boy finally, starts acting crazy and, his body starts contorting, the editing is so obnoxious and quick and the camera work is just nauseating and it's not atmospheric at all. And honestly, I would say the average shot during this exorcism scene was probably maybe 2 seconds because there were just all these quick cuts, and I know they're trying to make it intense, but another thing is that nothing particularly original was going on. We've seen these sort of exorcism scenes so many times before, like when the boy's body starts contorting. I saw that recently in a movie called The Last Exorcism. It's just all these gimmicks that we've seen so many times in other horror movies, and I think I just...
And then you have that one person that messes all up.
Yep, I'm turning into a cranky old man. But that's just the opening scene. So
no, I kind of agree. And like I don't know if you mentioned it. Well, you kind of did, but like with his whole body contorting, I don't know, like the special effects on that kind of it was really off.
Yeah,
could have made it look a little bit more realistic, but to me it looks so animated where he's just almost like a robot.
It looked phony.
Yeah, you just could. I don't know.
And not to give it away, but one of the scares in this opening sequence was pulled directly from the movie It. And I think, do you know which one I'm talking about, where he's sitting in the bathtub?
Oh, yes.
Yes. And that's another thing. Almost all the scares in this movie were very, very recognizable. Mm-hmm. Like...
Well, when I saw the big naked corpse... I instantly thought of Scary Stories.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought of too. Like the big naked corpse from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
So, Kim, I have bitched and moaned enough about this movie. Why don't you tell our faithful viewers what the general plot of The Conjuring Part 3 is?
Okay, so yeah, you pretty much have this 8-year-old boy who gets possessed, and later on you find out that it's not just any kind of like, how the demons possess, or the demons been in the house and then they end up just taking over the family. Mm-hmm. It goes a little bit more deeper than that, where you have these satanic rituals and this one main girl who's doing the whole thing pretty much. Mm-hmm. And she's just controlling it from underground. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, there's these little, I can't remember what they call them, that they plant.
Oh, like these totems?
Totems, yeah, that they're planting at these houses. Mm-hmm. So instead of thinking that these demons are just attached either to the house or to the person, that it's kind of all set up too.
So yeah, great job describing the plot of this movie. And it actually is based on a real life event. The Devil Made Me Do It is an infamous American court case. It was the first time in history that a criminal actually pleaded guilty by means of demonic possession. It was the first time in American history something like that had been done. They mentioned that it had been done a couple of times in, I think, England or Britain. But it's a very famous court case, and when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I thought it was going to revolve around this court case. I thought it was going to be like another movie called The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which was all about a very similar court case. This young girl, ends up murdering, her entire family, and, they're trying to figure out, what exactly happened to her, and her lawyer in the movie, played by Laura Linney, assumes that she actually was possessed, by demons, that she wasn't acting of her own free will. However, the court case, takes up maybe one or two sequences in this movie.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is pretty much an average X-Files episode, in which Ed and Lorraine Warren hit the road, and, they're trying to, solve all these clues. They're trying to figure out, if this boy was actually demonically possessed or not.
That, and they go from the beginning of when it all started.
Were there any... Let me ask you this. So, were there any scares in this movie that you felt were, unique? That you feel like, this is something that I've never really seen before, and this is actually putting me on the edge of my seat?
Not that I can think of, honestly.
The waterbed?
Oh, no, that was similar, though.
Was it?
I feel like it was from A Nightmare on Elm Street, the fourth one.
Oh, did they do something like that in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4?
Yeah, the Joey guy is laying on the waterbed.
Oh.
Except for it wasn't just a guy, it was actually a naked girl on the waterbed, but
okay.
But she ends up pulling him into the water.
Oh,
but that's why I was saying that in the theater, like, it kind of reminded me of A Nightmare on Elm Street a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you another question. So we both agree that the best part of these movies has always been Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga.
Yes.
As Ed and Lorraine Warren. How do you feel they did this time? Do you feel like they delivered some effective performances?
I definitely think they did. I feel like it was kind of almost similar to the second one where they had, I guess I didn't mind it too much, but how they pull in a little bit more about their love for each other conquers this whole...
Right.
So, like the second one, I think it was... I can't remember how that went. It's been a while since I've seen the second one.
Patrick Wilson sings Elvis Presley.
Yes.
That's what I remembered from the second movie.
Yes, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I feel like definitely really great performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I love them as actors and stuff. But yeah, I felt like they did put they kind of pulled from the second one a little bit into this one.
And there is a fantastic needle drop in this movie. They actually do play an Elvis Presley song. They play Suspicious Minds.
Which was funny because I just saw that in another movie I just watched.
What'd you see it in?
Army of the Dead.
Are you serious?
It was in the Army of the Dead.
Zack Snyder's magnum opus, Army of the Dead? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it was in there because I remember at the end I had to soundhound it because I couldn't remember what the name of the song was.
Oh, really?
And it was this, was it Suspicious Minds?
Yes, Suspicious Minds.
It was Suspicious Minds Can't Talk.
Isn't there also like a zombie Elvis Presley in that movie? I saw that in the trailer.
Yes, they do.
So horror movies are all about Elvis Presley this year.
Mm-hmm.
They must have taken inspiration from the 2003 masterpiece Bubba Hotep, starring Bruce Campbell as Elvis Presley. Amazing cult film. Check out Bubba Hotep.
Don't make me use my stuff on you, baby.
So yes, I watched the trailer for The Conjuring 3. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I watched the trailer for this goddamn thing. I know what I'm gonna say. I'm just trying to get the giggles out.
And that was me earlier trying to... I can't remember what I was saying. Suspicious? I can't say
Suspicious minds. So yeah, I watched the trailer for The Conjuring 3, and as someone who has always had a fleeting interest in the supernatural, I was curious, because I was familiar with The Devil Made Me Do It court case. It was a very well-documented event, but then I thought to myself, is The Conjuring 3 gonna do justice to this real-life story? Because this franchise isn't known for being very subtle. And let's just say that this one was not. What did you think about the ending sequence of this movie? The final showdown.
I definitely had. Okay, so that was the part that I kind of predicted. I had a feeling like either that, like, part of that ending with the priest, or the priest that.
Oh, we're gonna get into spoilers. Okay, you know what? Spoilers, because we're gonna talk about the ending here.
Yes.
So the priest, played by John Noble, aka God, what was his name? Denethor? Yeah, Denethor from The Return of the King plays the priest in this movie.
Yeah. And that was where I thought was predictable because he was in earlier, and I'm sitting there going, either he's going to have some kind of part in this, or, well, I was actually mostly leaning towards that he was into all of that.
Right.
So
The satanic cult.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a surprise, but I knew he had to have some kind of hand in it.
Okay. And you were right. And, okay, so here's the thing. One thing we haven't talked about is the cinematography in this movie, because there are scenes where I'm just wondering to myself, why the hell are they not turning on a goddamn light?
Oh, gosh.
Because, you know, the ending sequence where Vera Farmiga is sitting with John Noble, it starts off in his living room. There's a fireplace going. He has maybe one light. And then she follows him into the basement.
And there's no light.
There's no light. You know, it's this dark, spacious basement. She's looking around for him because he told her to follow him. He's nowhere to be seen. And then the camera whips to the left and he turns a light on.
Yeah, like
so was he just
sitting there reading his book in the dark?
Was he just sitting, in the dark reading his book, waiting for her to enter the room?
I was thinking
without
that
turning
too.
a lamp on? Contrived.
I literally was
and
thinking
gentlemen.
that too, because I was sitting there going, if I was her, I'd been sitting there going, why'd you just now turn the light on?
And I understand, you know, you want to have a creepy atmosphere in your horror movie, but, you know, as someone who, you know, studies cinematography, it just bothered me that there were so many scenes where I could barely see the actors' faces.
Almost like it was poor lighting.
Yeah. And, of course, we find out that, you know, John Noble, you know, his daughter is actually the one behind all of this, because he himself was interested in the occult, and he kind of passed that on to her. But, you know, she took it and started doing malicious things with it. Mm-hmm. And so the ultimate conclusion of this movie, Ed follows Lorraine to this farmhouse, and it turns out there's this underground tunnel where the priest's daughter has an altar set up, and the climax involves Patrick Wilson chasing Vera Farmiga through these tunnels with a sledgehammer because, you know, he's being manipulated by this demon. He looks like Jack Nicholson from The Shining, you know, chasing her with his sledgehammer, looking crazy as shit. And then it ends with him destroying the altar.
I had a feeling that was going to happen too.
Right, and I thought it was kind of lame. I thought it was kind of a lame conclusion. But you liked it?
I did.
You liked it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, at least it wasn't another exorcism scene. Actually, it kind of was another exorcism scene, because it also, God, it intercuts with, you know, Arnie, you know, the boy has been put on trial. You know, he is being exorcised by this priest inside the prison hospital.
Yeah.
So it does kind of end with another exorcism. But do you agree that what really stood out was the chemistry between Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga?
Yes.
You know, their love that they have for each other, their love that the characters share for one another is ultimately what made this conclusion a bit more potent than it otherwise would have been. Because they're amazing in these roles, they really are.
Yes.
Also, check out Patrick Wilson in Aquaman.
I thought you were going to say Insidious.
I didn't go to see Aquaman for Jason Momoa. I went to go see Aquaman for Patrick Wilson.
That must be a really different take on it. I'm just used to him being in horror movies.
Not Jason Momoa's fab abs. I went to go see Patrick Wilson. He's a handsome hunk. Speaking of handsome hunks, I thought the actor who played Arnie in this movie kind of looked like Evan Peters.
No! I definitely did. Okay, now that I think about it, I was like, no!
Alright.
I still think you look like Newt from the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Oh, Eddie Redmayne.
Mm-hmm.
Another hunk. I have shirtless pictures of Eddie Redmayne in my bedroom, where my wife can't see them. But yes, so different opinions here. I thought it was incredibly average. I thought it was tired. I thought it was full of cliches. But you?
And I really enjoyed it. It was more fun. I'm not gonna say it was like the best out of the year, but
What is the best of the year so far for you?
so far, Quiet Place 2.
Okay. Directed by Big Tuna from The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Quiet Place Part 2 was a very effective horror sequel. Definitely recommend that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I asked you this, though. Where does it rank? Where does Devil Made Me Do It rank among the other two Conjuring movies? At least for you.
Oh, it's probably right in that order, just 1, 2, and 3, to be honest.
Okay. You know, James Wan didn't direct this movie.
Yeah.
He was actually replaced by Michael Chavez, who directed, honestly, probably the worst entry in these movies, The Curse of La Llorona.
I did not watch that one.
It's
That's the only one I have not seen out of this.
It's not worth it. It's not worth watching. It's probably the worst in this series. And this is a series that contains Annabelle from 2014.
And they decided, we need this guy back. Let's do him for The Conjuring.
Well, apparently James Wan was actually impressed by his directorial style in The Curse of La Llorona. And I will say, it was a decently shot movie. You know,
It was just a storyline.
apart from the dim cinematography, you know, it had some creative, you know, creepy camera angles. What did you think, by the way? Okay, one more question for you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up here. So during the end credits, you know, they did that typical thing where they had actual footage of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and then they had, you know, the tapes of the actual exorcism that happened in real life. What did you make of that? Like, did it add to your not enjoyment? Did it make you a believer?
Believe in like the case and the story.
Well, the case, but
Well, yeah, kinda. I mean, I don't know. I guess some movies, it depends. When they say based on a true story, you kind of question, are they just throwing it in there for the extra scare? But no, I mean, to me, it made sense that it could have actually happened.
okay. Yeah, basically, I mean, the reason they put, you know, the reason they put this footage, you know, at the end of this movies is to make the audience believe that all these events actually transpired.
I just think the way, you know, I mean, of course, I mean, it's Hollywood and how they put movies together. They probably kept the plot and stuff, but, you know, you had to throw on some things for extra entertainment purposes.
And you know what? That's fair. Like I said earlier, these movies are carnival rides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get on, you enjoy yourself, you get off, you move on with your day, but you don't regret it. Although in this case, I just wish the carnival ride had been a little bit more fresh. But yes. So Kim, was there anything else that you wanted to say about The Conjuring 3?
I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay. The next horror movie, I think, is my most anticipated of the year.
The Purge.
Mm-hmm. The Forever Purge.
I was thinking of the other one you were saying earlier, but yes, The Purge.
Set in Texas, an ideal location for The Purge.
And I'm still a little on fence with this, just because I don't see where it's going to go. But I will definitely still watch it because I enjoyed all of the other Purge movies except for that last one.
Enjoy yourself because I'll be skipping The Forever Purge. It shall forever remain far away from me. But yes, hey guys, those are our thoughts on The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. What were your thoughts on this movie? Please leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think of this franchise overall, and if you liked what you saw here, go and subscribe to our spooky YouTube channel, Round the Clock Frights. We look forward to sharing more content with you. My voice cracked. Oh my god, I am being possessed by demons. We are excited to share more content with you guys. Thank you so much again. I hope you have a very scary night, and whatever you do, don't get possessed by demons. Demons should never be coming inside you.
Oh gosh.
Oh my
That was so wrong.
It's staying in, by the way.
You're staying in, by the way.
Don't get possessed. That's what I'm saying. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Have a good night, boys and boils and ghouls. Later.
Bye.
Bye. Boom.